I'd now like to call up our second panel of witnesses. On our second panel, we have Don Ham, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Assurant Health, Mr. Richard Collins, who is the Chief Executive Officer at Golden Rule Insurance Company, which is owned by United Health Group, Mr. Brian Sasse, am I saying that right? Sasse, who is President and CEO, Chief Executive Officer at WellPoint Incorporated, and Ms. Karen Pullitz, who is the Research Professor at Georgetown University Health Policy Institute. Welcome all of our witnesses. It's a policy of the subcommittee to take our testimony under oath. Please be advised you have the right under the rules of the House to be advised by counsel during your testimony. Do you wish to be represented by counsel during your testimony?
Yes, if necessary.
Mr. Ham, you would?
Yes, if necessary.
Okay, so if any time during the questions, if you want to get advice from counsel, just let us know and we'll allow you. Counsel can't testify, but they can advise you. Mr. Collins?
No, sir.
Mr. Sasse?
No, sir.
Ms. Pullitz? Okay. So then let me have you, you're already standing. Let's raise your right hand. We'll take the oath. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth in the matter pending before this committee?
I do.
Let the record reflect the witnesses replied in the affirmative. They are now under oath, beginning with their opening statement. You have 5 minutes for an opening statement. You may submit a longer statement for inclusion in the record. Mr. Ham, if you don't mind, I'll start with you. Start from my left and go to our right.
Chairman Stupak, Congressman Walden, members of the subcommittee, I am Don Ham, President and CEO of Assurant Health. I welcome this opportunity to participate in the hearing today. It is through dialogue like this that we can continue to address one of the most challenging issues of our time, providing health insurance coverage for all Americans. We appreciate that this subcommittee and Congress are committed to finding the right ways to address health care reform. If a system can be created where coverage is available to everyone and all Americans required to participate, the process we are addressing today, rescission, becomes unnecessary because risk is shared among all. I passionately believe that all Americans must have access to high-quality, affordable health care, regardless of their income or their health status. And I am proud to lead a great company that provides health coverage to individuals and families in 45 states. People need our products, and we are proud to provide them to thousands of Americans. Individual medical insurance is portable and belongs to each consumer. In these uncertain economic times, individual medical provides benefits to a growing population who do not receive employee-sponsored health coverage. That's why individual medical is so important. We work hard to ensure our health questions include simple, easy, and straightforward language. A correct medical history is necessary so we can fairly assess the health risk of each applicant. The vast majority of people complete the enrollment form accurately. The underwriting process depends on this information, and we rely upon the consumer's disclosures. People applying for individual insurance are given multiple opportunities to verify, correct, and complete the information they provide. They are given 10 days to notify us of any inaccurate information or to reject the coverage. At Assurant Health, we are acutely aware of how our coverage affects people's lives. It is the responsibility we take very seriously. Unfortunately, there are times when we discover information that was not disclosed during the enrollment process. And when this information is brought to our attention, we ask additional questions to determine if the information would have been material to the underwriting risk we assumed. Accurate risk assessment keeps rates lower for all. Assurant Health does not want to rescind coverage. We are, in fact, in the business of providing health care coverage. We regret the necessity of even a single rescission. The decision is never easy, and that's why we follow a fair and thorough process that includes a number of careful reviews. Here's how our system works. When we become aware of a condition that existed prior to the application date and that information was not disclosed, a senior underwriter reviews the omitted information to determine if it was material to the underwriting decision. Then an underwriting manager verifies the analysis. If the omission was not material, the review is complete. If the omission was material, the underwriter makes a recommendation to a review panel, which includes at least one physician. This review panel evaluates the information and makes a decision. The amount of the potential claim is never disclosed to the underwriters or to the review panel. The decision to rescind is only made when the undisclosed information would have made a material difference to the underwriting decision based on our guidelines. The consumer is given the opportunity to provide additional information before coverage is rescinded. This information is evaluated and a decision is made. If the consumer is dissatisfied with the decision, we provide multiple opportunities to appeal, which now includes an option to request a medical review by an independent third-party company. Rescission affects less than 0.5% of the people we cover. Yet, it is one of many necessary protections for affordability and viability of the individual health insurance in the United States. Assurant Health supports the principle that everyone in the United States deserves affordable health care. And we see reform of our nation's healthcare system as a shared responsibility between doctors, consumers, health insurers, and policymakers, who collectively can deliver effective solutions to provide coverage for all Americans. And that is why, Assurant Health, we will continue to participate in efforts to reform and improve health care in America. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ham. Mr. Collins, your opening statement, please, sir.
Good morning, Chairman Stupak, Ranking Member Walden, members of the subcommittee. Thank you for inviting me to testify today. My name is Richard Collins. I'm the CEO of Golden Rule Insurance Company. We're a United Health Group business that sells health insurance policies to individuals and their families. Golden Rule has been offering this important coverage for over 60 years. We seek to offer innovative and affordable products to meet the diverse healthcare and financial needs of our customers. In our current healthcare delivery system, the individual insurance market operates primarily for families who do not have access to group insurance or government benefit programs. We have long advocated that our country needs comprehensive reform that includes modernizing our delivery system, tackling the fundamental drivers of healthcare cost growth, strengthening employer-based coverage, and providing well-targeted support for low-income families. To be effective, we believe the modernization of the individual market needs to contain all the following elements. First of all, individuals must be required to obtain and maintain health coverage so that everyone participates in both the benefits and the costs of the system. Second, insurers should be able to set rates within limited parameters of age, geography, family size, excuse me, and benefit design, just as they do in the group market. Excuse me. However, and I want to emphasize this point, rates should not vary on health status, and coverage should be guaranteed, regardless of pre-existing medical conditions for those that maintain continuous coverage. Third, low and middle income families should receive some form of subsidy to ensure they have the same access to care as all Americans. Fourth, insurers should be able to offer a wide spectrum of plan designs to allow American families the flexibility to choose a plan that fits their budget. And lastly, the tax treatment of individual insurance premiums should be on par with employer coverage. Until comprehensive reform is achieved, we believe the medical underwriting of individual policies will continue to be necessary. If these changes are instituted, most of the reasons for individual medical underwriting, as well as most of the reasons for rescissions and terminations of policies, would cease to exist. Our company mission is to improve the health and well-being of all Americans. In the individual market, we accomplish this by covering as many consumers as possible with quality health insurance. We also work to keep our products affordable to accomplish our mission, because the primary barrier to access is affordability. We understand that we have a responsibility to treat all of our policyholders fairly, and I assure you we take this responsibility very seriously. Unfortunately, for a variety of reasons, some people choose not to purchase individual health insurance until they have a significant health event. This decision not only has enormous physical impact and financial impact on these families, but raises the cost of health care for everyone. As you know, the practice of rescission has long been recognized by the laws of virtually every state. Rescission is uncommon, but unfortunate, and a necessary recourse in the event of material and at times intentional or fraudulent misstatement, or omission on an insurance application. Under our current system, failure to act on these cases is fundamentally unfair to those working families that play by the rules, because it would severely limit our ability to provide quality and affordable health insurance. In the rare event that we determine it is necessary to rescind coverage, and after a thorough investigation of the facts and in compliance with state laws and regulations, we follow practices and procedures designed to ensure a fair and transparent process for the individual. And as I indicated, our use of rescission is rare. Less than one half of 1% of all individual insurance policies in 2008 were terminated or rescinded, and in each case, the affected customer was afforded the right of appeal. In conclusion, we look forward to working with this committee, the Congress, state and federal regulators, to continue to expand access to affordable health insurance coverage in the individual market. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sassy, your opening statement, please.
Thank you, Chairman Stupak, Ranking Member Walden, and members of the committee for inviting me to testify before you today. I'm Brian Sassy. I'm the President and CEO of the Consumer Division of WellPoint. We take contract rescissions very seriously because we understand the impact these decisions can have on individuals and families. We've put in place a thorough process with multiple steps to ensure that we are as fair and as accurate as we can be in making these difficult decisions. I want to emphasize that rescission is about stopping fraud and material misrepresentation that contribute to the spiraling healthcare costs. By some estimates, healthcare fraud in the U.S. exceeds $100 billion, an amount large enough to pay for covering nearly half the 47 million uninsured. Rescission is a tool employed by WellPoint and other health insurers to protect the vast majority of policyholders who provide accurate and complete information from subsidizing the cost of those who do not. The bottom line is that rescission is about combating costs driven by these issues. If we fail to address fraud and material misrepresentation, the cost of coverage would increase, making coverage less affordable for existing and future individual policyholders. I would like to put this issue in context. While most people who are under the age of 65 obtain health insurance through their employers, some 15 million Americans purchase coverage in the voluntary individual market. In a market where individuals can choose to purchase insurance at any time, health insurers must medically underwrite applicants for current health risk. If an individual buys health coverage only when he or she needs health care services, the system cannot be sustained. While we understand and appreciate that this is a critical personal issue, individual market rescission impacts an extremely small share of the individual market membership. In our experience, we believe that more than 99% of all applicants for individual coverage provide accurate and complete information. In fact, as a percentage of new individual market enrollment during 2008, we rescinded only 0.1% of individual policies that year. The issue of rescission in health insurance surfaced in the media in 2006 and 2007, generating the public concern that we're here talking about today. Our main point today is the same as it was then. A voluntary market for health insurance requires that we protect our members from costs associated with fraud and material misrepresentations. Otherwise, the market cannot be sustained. In response to the public concern over the practice of rescissions, in 2006, WellPoint undertook a thorough review of our policies and procedures. Following that review, WellPoint was the first insurer to announce the establishment of a variety of robust consumer protections that ensure rescissions are handled as accurately and as appropriately as possible. These protections include, 1, creating an application review committee, which is staffed by a physician that makes rescission decisions. 2, establishing a single point of contact for members undergoing a rescission investigation. And 3, establishing an appeal process for applicants who disagree with our original determination, which includes a review by an application review committee not involved in the original decision. And then in 2008, WellPoint was the first in the industry to offer a binding, external, independent third-party review process for rescissions. We have put all of these protections in place with multiple steps because we cover millions of Americans and want to be as fair and as accurate as we can be. Some have asserted that health insurers provide a systematic reward for employees regarding rescissions. This is absolutely not the case at WellPoint. I want to assure the committee that there is no WellPoint policy to either factor in the number of rescissions or the dollar amount of unpaid claims in the evaluation of employee performance or in calculating employee salary or bonuses. In response to policymaker interest in enacting consumer protections related to rescission, WellPoint is proposing a set of rescission regulations with new consumer protections, and I've outlined these in my written testimony to the subcommittee. In addition, the health insurance industry has proposed a set of comprehensive and interrelated reforms to the individual health insurance market as a whole. The centerpiece of this proposal is the elimination of medical underwriting combined with an effective and enforceable personal coverage requirement. In other words, insurers sell to all applicants regardless of pre-existing conditions. As long as everyone enters the risk pool by purchasing and maintaining coverage, this would render the practice of rescissions unnecessary. Our proposals are examples of how we are working to find common ground on these issues so that we can make quality, affordable health care available to all Americans. Thank you for the opportunity to discuss this issue and our proposals with you. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you. Ms. Politz, your opening statements, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, I'm Karen Politz, and I study private health insurance and its regulation at Georgetown University. Thank you for holding this hearing today. Health insurance rescission is a serious issue of utmost importance. In addition to the devastation that it visits on people, the problems explored today can teach us broader lessons that will be important for healthcare reform. The individual market is a difficult one, as we all know, and because it is small and voluntary and vulnerable to adverse selection, there has been a lot of resistance to enacting a lot of incremental reforms to govern practices in this marketplace. However, with the enactment of HIPAA in 1996, the Congress did act to apply one important rule broadly to all health insurance, including individual health insurance, and that is the rule of guaranteed renewability. Prior to HIPAA, individuals and small employers who bought health insurance and then made claims would sometimes have their coverage canceled, and HIPAA sought to fix that by requiring, and I quote, "except as provided in this section, a health insurance issuer that provides individual health insurance coverage to an individual shall renew or continue in force such coverage at the option of the individual. Only narrow exceptions to guaranteed renewability are permitted, and with respect to policyholders' behavior, the policy can only be renewed or discontinued, or can be renewed or discontinued only if the individual moves out of the service area, fails to pay their premium, or commits fraud." Congress relies on states to adopt and enforce HIPAA protections, and the federal government is supposed to directly enforce when states do not. As states implemented HIPAA, they adopted the guaranteed renewability rule, but other conflicting provisions in state law remained unchanged. In particular, laws governing so-called contestability periods continue to permit insurers to engage in post-claims underwriting and to rescind policies or deny claims based on reasons other than fraud and failure to pay premiums. State laws create a window, usually 2 years, when claims made under a policy can be investigated to determine whether they may be for a pre-existing condition. After the period of incontestability, a policy can be rescinded or a claim denied only on the basis of fraud. But during the window, if a claim is submitted by a new policyholder, the original application for coverage is reinvestigated, and if any, even unintentional, material misstatement or omission is discovered, consumers may lose their health insurance. That conflicts with HIPAA. Now, clearly, when it comes to post-claims underwriting, protection against fraud is important, but there is evidence that some insurance companies are not nearly as careful as they should be in their initial medical underwriting and rely instead on post-claims underwriting to catch their mistakes later. Applications for coverage may ask broad, vague, or confusing questions, use technical terms, and make it very difficult for consumers to answer accurately and completely. Or policies that, other follow-up that should occur in the initial underwriting may not. For example, if a 62-year-old submits an application indicating absolutely no health problems or health histories, that application may be considered and coverage issued without any further investigation at the time of application. Market competition and profitability create pressures on medical underwriters to do their jobs more quickly and cheaply. However, if medical underwriting is allowed in health insurance, it has to be completed upfront before coverage is issued. The recent subprime mortgage scandal, where banks issued mortgages without adequate screening of consumers' financial status, offers an analogy. When insurers issue medically underwritten coverage without carefully screening an applicant's health status and rely on post-claims investigations to avoid incurring a loss, consumers are vulnerable. How extensive is this problem? It's hard to say. The industry has offered its own estimates, but official data are lacking, and that is troubling. The federal government has not kept track of this issue. At a hearing of the Government Oversight Committee last year, a witness for the Bush administration testified that she had not acted on press reports of inappropriate rescissions or even looked into them. She did not appear to be aware of conflicts in current state law, and she testified she had only 4 people on her staff who work part-time on HIPAA private insurance issues. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, this investigation into health insurance rescission has trained a spotlight on an important question. If the Congress enacts a law or an entire health care reform proposal, how will you know if that law is being followed? It is fundamentally important that along with federal protections for health insurance, you also enact reporting requirements on health insurers and health plans so that regulators can have access to complete and timely data about how the market is working in order to monitor compliance with the law. Congresswoman DeLauro has introduced a bill to create an office of a Federal Office of Health Insurance Oversight that establishes such reporting requirements on insurers and that appropriates resources so that the federal government and state insurance departments together can carry out those responsibilities. I hope the Congress will follow her leadership and make adequate oversight and enforcement resources part of health care reform.
Well, thank you, and thank you all for your testimony.